Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Emilio Del Valle, an admissions counselor in Stony Brook University's Office of Undergraduate Admissions. The admissions team, as well as our presenters from Sbu Libraries, are thrilled to have you all here today. Our presenters worked very hard at these past few weeks to create an interactive and informative presentation for you all. And our admissions team is happy to collaborate with Sbu Libraries to coordinate such a valuable topic for our summer workshop series events. Being that you all registered for this event, I am confident that you all at least minimally understand the vital role that the library's resources play in students' academic career. However, after this event, I'm confident that you will know that and so much more. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please be sure to type your questions directly into the chat box and designate it to one of the individuals named Ask a Question. There are two staff members titled Ask a Question, so please be sure to utilize both of them. No question is a bad question, so do not be hesitant to take advantage of this chat feature. Okay, so lastly, I would like to introduce our wonderful presenters for today. Chris Kretz, Head of Academic Engagement for Sbu Libraries, and Christine Fenna, Undergraduate Success Librarian for Sbu Libraries. And furthermore, I will let them take it away.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for logging in with us on this hot and humid August afternoon. And thank you to Emilio and the admissions office for inviting us into this series. We always appreciate the opportunity to talk about the academic library and how it can help you. And not only the SBU libraries, that'll be our framework for today, obviously, because that's where we work, but we want to leave you with the impression of just how important an academic library is no matter where you wind up. So again, by way of introduction, I'm Chris Kretz, Head of Academic Engagement, and with me is...
Hello, I'm Christine Fina. I'm Undergraduate Success Librarian. Looking forward to talking to you guys in a little bit.
And just our titles, just to give you a little introduction. So I oversee all of our academic engagement activities. That's a lot of, it's a broad term. So it's a lot of instruction and making sure people and programs know what we have. And Christine's role, you can see from the title, we have a person just dedicated to making sure our undergraduates succeed. So that's again, a key component that we want to leave you with about how libraries work in higher education. So before we dive into the actual presentation, we're going to do a few polls just to kind of get a sense of everyone. And I'm just going to turn off my video if you don't mind. So I'm going to launch a poll that you should see. We've all been living from home, so maybe we can live vicariously from each other, see where we're all from. And no matter where you're from, hopefully things are starting to look up. But let's let this poll run a little bit. And then we'll see either you're from Long Island or from another area of New York State. I just came back from the Finger Lakes. It was very beautiful up there. So what are we at? 87%. So let me show you our results. So 24% from the islands, 60, almost 70% from greater New York, great. And a few from outside. And the other question we're going to do is, what subject right now is of most interest to you? What are you most curious about? And this will relate to what we talk about libraries. And at the end of the webinar, we will be asking you to declare a major, so choose carefully. But of course, no one should know what their major is, so don't feel like that. I'm kidding. This is a non-binding poll. Part of the process with research and colleges in general is, to find what you're interested in. So hopefully we can move you along the path here. We're at 85%. We're going quick, so let me share this results. Okay, some arts and humanities, that's my background, but that's great. Social sciences, health and engineering. So definitely you're in a great place to be looking at Stony Brook if you're interested in the health fields and engineering and the other STEM fields. And we've got one more, so we'll pose this question, which will kind of help us as we talk to you. Where are you at right now? So I get a sense that you're at different levels of looking into higher education. I have a son who will be a junior this year in high school. So if you have any tips, you can send them to me about how you're approaching this task. And again, we're at 85%. So let me share the results. Okay, half of us are seniors, half of you are seniors. Some incoming freshmen, welcome if you're an incoming freshman from SBU. we'll be doing orientations next week, so we may see you again. So that's good. That helps give us a sense of who we all are. So let's get back to the presentation. And Christine, just the next slide will give you an overview of what we'll be talking about the rest of the way today. And if just want to advance one.
It's not letting me with the poll open.
Oh, okay. Did I not stop it? It should be stopped.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So basically, we're going to be talking about SBU Libraries, the librarians, and our website for a little bit, and then talking about students and how they've been researching using the library, give you a sense of your peers and case studies in a sense. Christine will give us a whirlwind tour of our resources. We'll be talking a lot about databases, so she will dazzle us with some of the research you can be doing once you get into college. And then we'll try to demystify quickly the process of citing sources. And I'm sure that's may not be anyone's favorite topic, but we want to leave you with a sense of why it's important and how it can be fun. So that's our challenge. And then we'll definitely leave time for questions and answers. So again, use that chat function, chat at ask a question, and we can take them as we go, and we can leave some for the end too. So we're going to give you a look at SBU Libraries, and if you just note that is plural because we have many locations, but we act as one department. So we call it SBU Libraries. It makes the grammar a little difficult when you're talking about it, but to go by the numbers, we have 10 physical locations across the 3 campuses of Stony Brook on Long Island. So what's in the middle of the map in front of you is mostly the West Campus. We've got a lot of locations there, mostly in the Melville Library. That's that building in the yellow circle in the middle, but there's also a chemistry library. There's a marine science library on the South Campus. Across the street, Nichols Road, there is the Health Science Library, which is connected to the Health Science Center and the medical school and the hospital. So those of you involved or interested in health, that library would be of great interest to you. And then about an hour east of us, on the South Fork of Long Island, we have the Southampton Campus. It's a little jewel of a upper level, graduate level campus, which is mostly health science programs, creative writing, and a marine science center. So there's a lot of places that you'll be able to visit once you're here at Stony Brook. In terms of people, there are 22, we call them liaison librarians. What that means is, includes Christine and I, we are involved with working with specific programs and departments to make sure that they're getting the library resources that they need, that we're teaching their students how to research for their programs, and just keeping connected. So we'll talk about how we do that. We have roughly 500 online research databases. I like to compare them to premium cable channels or streaming services. So these are databases that you wouldn't get publicly. So it's not something that would turn up in a Google search. And that is really probably the biggest difference once you get to college. You may have used some of these in high school, but you really get tapped into a lot of academic level content that you don't really see anywhere else. So that's something you always want to make sure you're taking advantage of. And then we also have, we have not gotten rid of the physical books. So we have over 200 physical volumes. Volumes can include anything from books to newspapers and magazines and periodicals, and DVDs. We actually still have some VHS up in the stacks just in case. So we still have that physical collection, and then those are also important in doing research. And just to give you a sense, the world is turned upside down a little bit. So the next slide, we'll talk about what SBU Libraries are doing in the fall to adjust to the local conditions, obviously. 5 of those 10 locations are open to the public. So that's the Central Reading Room, the Music Library, the North Reading Room. Those are all in that Melville Library building on West Campus. The Health Science Library is open, and that Southampton Library is open. We've done a lot of work over the summer, making sure social distancing is enforced, moving chairs and spacing out computer terminals, things like that. So putting in plexiglass and tape on the floor and all that kind of thing. So we're ready for the students that will be arriving in just a few weeks. And we are also not neglecting those 2 million items. So you can't walk up into our book stacks and find a book that way, but any of those items you can request through our catalog and you can come and pick them up. So we've adjusted to making sure that people can still do the work that they need to do.
Chris, there's actually a question about books.
Sure.
I thought maybe I'd interject real quick. Someone just wants to know about, I believe it's probably an incoming student. They're wondering if they can get books from the library for their required courses.
Yeah, so what you would do is if you have a reading list or the syllabus, you would check those titles against our catalog to see if we had them. Just as a general rule of thumb, we don't technically buy the required textbooks for the class, but a lot of times your professor might put them on reserve. In the current situation, it would have to be an electronic reserve, so you could check with the professor and see if they've made them available online. And when we get to the website, we'll show you where you can check for those titles. Okay, so next slide. We're going to take a look at those are the physical locations. We're going to go out to our webpage because a lot of the work you're going to be doing is going to be through our digital presence, for lack of a better word. So this is our homepage, library.stonybrook.edu. And if we could go down to that gray area is where you can search for all the books and the other items we have in our collection. If you click on research guides, we just want to show you this quickly. We talked about liaison librarians. We create these research guides by subject. So if you look at that list, no matter what you're studying, there's going to be a guide. And those are kind of like consolidated sources. So you don't have to hunt around the website to figure out what's the best database for science or biology. We put them all in one place. So it's kind of a one-stop shopping. And back on the home page, just want to highlight that even though we moved to all online last spring, we still were able to do a lot of teaching and events and workshops online. So this is a workshop that just was yesterday, I believe, on using EndNote, which is a software that you can download as a student that helps you do bibliographies and citations. So that was through Zoom. We have a lot of things coming up in the fall that will be through Zoom, not just workshops, but events, poetry readings, lectures from faculty and things like that. So we were able to adapt to the online way of working pretty easily. And I'm sure we're all familiar with it now because it affected all of us. The other thing we want to just mention quickly about academic libraries, one of the things you may not know about are special collections. And this is going to be unique to every institution will have their own special collections or archives. And these are kind of these hidden gems of collections. We have a lot on local Long Island history. We have the papers of State Senator Jacob Javits, but we want to highlight our George Washington letters. We actually have original letters written, actually not written dictated by Washington, written by one of his secretaries, but dealing with, there was a local Revolutionary War spy ring in the area in Setauket. So this is George Washington directing operations behind enemy lines to his Culper spy ring, if that means anything to you. And again, it's just sort of a unique aspect of any college library. They're going to have some special collections that you might tap into doing your research, whether you're a historian or you'd be doing an English project. Making use of the special collections is always a good experience to have. We have a lot of material available and it's not always easy. We don't want you to have to figure it out for yourself. So if you've noticed, a lot of these pages have an Ask Us button in the upper right-hand corner. That is our live chat service. So during normal hours, we can connect to a librarian. So we're just going to demonstrate that. A lot of libraries have this now, so that's something you can check no matter where you're looking.
Can you see the chat box?
Yep.
Oh.
You can fill your name in, you don't have to. We have a team of people standing by, and what's good about this is since so much of our work is done online with the databases and things like that, we can send you links back and forth. We can suggest things to try, so you can actually get a lot accomplished just by using this chat. And we're just going to put them on notice to see if we can get a reply. And then another tip is, no matter what school you're looking at, check out their library homepage, find where it is, see what kind of services they offer, what databases they have, and it just gives you another sense of what kind of school it is and how you can find help. And then the last thing we'll show you on the website is we're not just on the website, we are on social media. That's just another way we can connect with people. So we're going to go to our Twitter feed. We're at SBU Library. And this is our timeline. There's a little welcome to you all. We knew you were coming today, so we tweeted for you this morning. And that's another tip I would say, check the social media of any school that you're looking at and get a sense of a little bit of their personality, but also the services and the things that they offer. So that is a quick look at our web presence. And I'm just going to finish up my portion with talking a little bit about the library is not really the building and the books and the resources. It's really what you can do in the library. So we're going to give you a few glimpses of the research life you're going to have. So as you go to school, you're going to be developing your own major and research interests. So these are just some feedback we've garnered from students. This is Claire. She's a biology major. And she was a bit intimidated when she first started because the library seemed so huge and everyone seemed to know their way around. So hopefully we can alleviate some of that. You can hit the ground running once you start school. You know a little bit about how the library would operate. Next is, I believe, Melanie. And Melanie was, yep, she is a marketing MBA major, and her advice is not just to take the first result, but try to gather as much information, verify your sources. It's not just a Google search and picking the top result. It's really looking at your research and picking the best for your topic. So that's Melanie. And then Nava, her aha moment was looking at those databases, which we're going to see in a moment. And particularly for her, she's a history, political science major. She was researching an apparent assassination attempt or plot against Theodore Roosevelt in 1903. And the reason she could research that is because we have access to the digitized newspapers of that time period. So she could read the breaking news through the databases of what was happening in 1903. So it really taps you into an ecosystem of resources. And the last two quotes we'll show you are from a class actually that Christine taught in the spring. And Rebecca and Anna, they were incoming freshmen. And again, they were exposed to this whole new world. And so they found it a lot easier than Google. We don't see Google as competition. It's just not the best tool for the job usually when you're doing academic research. And then Anna found access to this whole new world of scholarly articles and historical images. And so Christine is going to take us now into that world and show us some of the highlights of what you can do with a college library.
Hello, yes. So databases, these are one of the wonderful tools that you have. It's a tremendous privilege to be part of a university community and have access to these very expensive databases. And a database, what is a database? It's a collection of stuff, right? And they can be organized by topic. You might have a database that just holds art images or that just holds documents related to organic chemistry or that is focused on poetry. Or you might have a database that's organized by type of information. Maybe it is only research articles. Maybe it is only streaming video. And so they can be organized in different ways. As Chris said, we have over 500 of these databases. Obviously, we're not going to be able to go through all of those today. So I just picked a couple from a couple different topic areas to give you a list of some of the amazing topics you can explore and all the power you have at your fingertips when you start exploring the library. And it really becomes a way for you to discover what you're interested in as well, just looking around and seeing when you get that sense of excitement and motivation when you find something. It's almost like finding a treasure. So let's take a look at some of these and see if you get excited about any of this. From the library homepage, again, this gray box, there's this link into our databases. There's also a tool here where you can search across multiple databases at once, but I'm going to show you some individual databases. So I'm going to click on this. And here's a list of databases. You can search them by title alphabetically. You can look them up by specific subjects. You can see this here. You can just, if you know the specific name of a database, you can type it in. I'm going to start. Let's say you're really interested in the 1918 flu pandemic. Maybe the current pandemic has you interested in the flu pandemic. So there's a database we have. It's the Historical New York Times database. And as you see here, every database listed here, it gives you a brief summary of what's in it. Here we can look at content from 1851 to 3 years ago. in this database. So we're going to go into this database. And maybe I'm doing research that makes me really curious about what was being advertised in the 1918 New York Times during the peak of the pandemic. And I happen to know that the pandemic peaked in October 1918 in New York City. So I went into the advanced search option, which is usually my favorite way to do it. It helps me think about my search. I'm going to enter just the term influenza. And I'm going to look for a very specific date range because I really want to know about October 1918. So I'm going to do October 1st to October 31st. And I can pick the type here. I could just hit search and it would just search for the word influenza in every single type, but I'm really focused on advertisements. So I'm gonna click display ad. Those are the ones that have the pictures usually, or they're the bigger advertisements. I'm gonna hit search. And I have 44 results here. And we could look through these just to get a sense. We could just start here. Oh, here there's an announcement from a dental cream company that's, it's just reminding you that it's an airborne infection. Here's another one that sort of has an ad here from the American Red Cross. They're looking for automobile donations so nurses can do what they need to do quicker. There's a couple here I just wanted to. This one is, again, it's the cleaning company, remembering the 3 C's, clean mouth, clean skin, and clean clothes will keep you protected from influenza. But this is the one I wanted to show you. This is a Macy's advertisement in October 12th, 1918 issue of the New York Times. And you can see here they're selling a specific product they're calling sanitary cloth window ventilators. So it filters the air, keeps out the dust. And what I thought was really interesting is if you think about the news coverage of the coronavirus, we've all come to know the little spiky ball of the virus. And they didn't have the technology 100 years ago to know what the influenza virus looks like. So maybe you're writing a really interesting paper about the history of medical technology, and you want to show that in 1918, this is how they envisioned the influenza. It looks like a little devil, a little nasty critter that is trying to get into your house. Or maybe you're interested in the history of consumerism, and there's something that is interesting to you about that, or the history of how they used images in advertising, and so on and so forth, or how they thought about viruses back then, that they were outside trying to get in. So there's lots of different reasons you might want to advertise historical advertisements, and here's a cool way to do it. So that's one, if you're interested in that kind of thing. That was a treasure I thought I might share with you. If you are interested in business, we have loads of business. I'm just going to put the word business into the search. And here is one database that I'm going to show you. It's a powerful tool. There's lots you can do. You can look up specific companies and get lots of information. One thing you can do is create a comparison chart. And I already built one. I'm not going to take the time to build one. I'm just going to show you here. You can add specific companies, and you would search for specific companies. And in this case, we're going to compare revenue. Okay, and I built one already here. Here you can see, you can compare employees, revenue, sales per employee, all these different categories. Let's keep it at revenue. I just decided to compare athletic shoe companies. And I have Nike, Reebok, Adidas, and New Balance. And you know, what story could you tell with this? Here, Reebok and Nike were in the same place in 1990. And you can see what's happened there. Here it looks like Adidas and Nike were in the same place in 2007. So if you're interested in these kinds of numbers and data and charts and stats on companies, we have lots of powerful databases here for you where you can find the information that's interesting and tell the stories that you need to tell. Another topic I thought I would highlight for you. Let's go into we have lots and lots of health sciences databases. And of course, Pubmed is a big one. I'm going to just actually look for one called Medline because it's going to get us to something I will show you. Medline with, and again, you can read about here. I'm going to click on this. And this is going to take us into a vendor called Ebsco. A lot of our databases are hosted by Ebsco, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Medline is one of those, okay? And again, I'm going to go into the advanced search because that's what I like. And if I were to type in the search term COVID-19, let's just see what happens. So I have 34,000 results for COVID-19. And what happens here, if I look at the date and I change this 2020, you can see still about 34,000. So pretty much all of those articles on COVID-19 have come out this year, right? Now, if I change that to coronavirus, I'm gonna search for coronavirus. We're gonna change this. We'll just go like that for now. Okay, you can see now 35,000 results. Of those, there's about 10,000 that were published before. So it just gives you a sense of the importance of search terms. And there's lots of interesting ways you can combine search terms. If you wanted to search for both, you could join them with a term. And then you could search for both. And maybe you wanted to add a term here, like, oh, it's doing that thing again. Why does it do that? It's not letting me get out. There we go. And maybe you wanted to add blood type here, for example. All those stories about people with type A blood. You want to see what the peer-reviewed articles are saying about that. You could do that. So there's lots of interesting things. We're not going to go into details of search strategies here, but there's just lots of cool ways you can find information using these databases. And I'm going to show you here. These are some of the databases covered within Ebsco. And just to give you an example, you can hover over, you can see this one. This is all about information covering aspects on human impact to the environment. So a whole database just for that. Whole database just for education. Let's say you're writing a paper. You're really interested in the impact of Disney princesses on child development. So maybe you want to look in a psychology database for that. You're going to choose psychology. You're also going to choose Academic Search Complete, which is our huge multidisciplinary database. It covers many, many, many topics. So we'll do a multidisciplinary database. We'll do a psychology database. We'll do this psychology and behavioral sciences database. Maybe we'll add in this social sciences database and a humanities one just for kicks. So I'm going to search across all these databases now. And I'm going to change my search terms. I can see those are the databases I'm searching in. And I'm just going to do Disney and princess. What are some good search terms here? Now I'm interested in identity. So maybe I'll try something like identity or self. So a sense of self or a sense of identity. And then maybe I want to make sure I'm focused on children. Or, you know, girls even. And we'll just see what happens. This is the thing about research. Sometimes you try some search terms, you don't get anything good, and you just start over, and that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it absolutely right. You just have to keep going. So we'll see if this gives us anything interesting. Right here, Pretty as a Princess, longitudinal effects of engagement with Disney princesses on gender stereotypes, body esteem, and pro-social behavior in children. What journal is this in? We can check. It's in a journal called Child Development. So this is definitely from the perspective of psychologists. This is a psychology journal. And maybe this looks really good to me. I can click on it. There's all these tools I can use to email it to myself. we're going to talk about citation in a bit. And every database, just about every database that you're going to use at Stony Brook is going to have one of these cite tools where you can grab a citation.
Christine, I'm just going to jump in. We've got a number of questions coming in, but one that, and we'll get to them at the end, but the one that's related, I think, most to right now, I just want to ask you.
Yeah.
What do the parentheses and the using the or do when you're entering the keywords?
Yeah, so this is, you know, sometimes when I'm doing a search, I like to think about it almost like an algebra problem. It helps me. I think of the and as a type of a plus sign. I'm searching for Disney and princess. I could also put the or here. So what the or does is it says when you use an or, you're basically using lots of synonyms. So let's say you're interested in how social media is impacting teenagers. You want to think about what are all the different ways experts describe teenagers. They might say teenagers, they might say teens, they might say adolescents, they might say high school students, they might say youth. And so I might join all those terms together and so on, adolescents, with or, and that means I don't need all those terms in the article. I would be happy with any of those terms. And I just use the parentheses because it just helps me know, okay, this is a group. And it's almost like distributing the distribution property and when you're doing a math equation. So here I'm okay with Disney and princess and identity, or Disney and princess and self, but it doesn't have to be both identity and self because I've connected those with or. The same thing with children or girls. I didn't need both of those. I just wanted it to be about children or about girls. Probably if they're using the word girls, they're talking about children. So that is what that means. Lots of cool search tips. I mean, I could put an asterisk at the end of princess, for example, and that would mean I'm searching for princess or princesses. It makes princess a root word. So if we did that with a verb like run, that would be run or running. So there's lots of cool things we could teach.
And just to follow, part of the question was, are there workshops throughout the year? And yes, we definitely have workshops on, and we have 2 coming up in September, one on doing searches and one on using databases. So we definitely can help you along the way.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Any other questions like that, Chris?
There are a bunch, but I think we can tackle them at the end since they kind of go across the board.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's really what I just wanted to show you, a way you might do some fun research. This is going to be a PDF you can grab where you just see the whole article right here. And there we can read the article. And remember, anytime you find an article where you're like, yes, I've been searching for hours and I finally found something that is a perfect match, that means that all the citations at the end are also going to be really useful for you, because if this article is a perfect match, chances are they're citing something that is also going to be a good match. So don't forget about that citation list. Okay, so those are a few treasures that I wanted to share with you. A couple others I'm going to flash through really quick now. We have, for example, music collections, one of which is Naxos. It has, what's the number? 170,000 tracks. And I actually did a search in Naxos. I thought it would be fun to search for some John Williams music. This is an album, I think it's from the 1990s. So this doesn't have Harry Potter or any of his more recent stuff, but let's just play some Indiana Jones. There we go. We'll do that while I look at a couple others here. You can play some music. Maybe you're taking a music class and you need to find some tracks, or maybe you just want to look at some music that, you know, Spotify isn't throwing at you. Just try something completely different, clean slate, do a search. We have music collections that you can look at.
Christine, just to jump in, are those tracks downloadable in this database?
That's actually a really good question. You know,
I think you can link to them, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can definitely link. So for example, if I wanted to get the link to this and share it, there is a share, maybe it's covering it up. There's a share here somewhere. Hide player, maybe. There, see this little icon right there? That will give me the links. So if I, for example, wanted Chris to get to listen to this album, I could copy this link and email it to him, and then he could click on it, and then he would type in his net ID and password. So when you come to Stony Brook, and any university, you're going to get a net ID and password. That's your special way to get into everything that the university pays for. And so typically it's not going to be something that you're going to just be able to give out to anybody. It's going to be something that you'll need your login.
And just to jump in, again, we have some questions we'll get to at the end, but someone did ask about high school access to the university databases, and Christine alluded to it. Basically, they're licensed from these companies for usually our current faculty and staff and enrolled students. So if we do have high school classes come to us from the local area, and we can do some teaching and lab work on the computers, but you can't access these from outside of Stony Brook unless you're a Stony Brook student.
Right. Yes, there are lots of wonderful open access databases. You know, Library of Congress has loads of free, amazing historical archives you can look through. There's lots of libraries that have public free databases. The ones that I'm showing you right now are all databases that we pay for our students.
And just to jump on that, since one of the questions is, do students pay extra for this? No, this is included in your tuition. So, you know, it's covered. That's why we want to make sure wherever you go, make sure you're using the library resources, because it's something you've already paid for. So they can really help you while you're there.
Yes, it's just, it's a wonderful, wonderful privilege to get to be a part of this research community and have access to all these wonderful resources. So really, use them. If you're confused or intimidated by them, that's normal, that's okay. That's what we're here for. We want to help you learn how to use them and feel excited about using them. Just a couple other things. Alexander Street is one of the platforms that has some streaming video options. You can see RBGs down here. Maybe you're bored out of your mind and you're sick of flipping through YouTube and you decide, I know, I'll watch a Ken Burns documentary. So you search for Ken Burns documentaries and there's way too many results. So maybe you want to watch his jazz documentary. So we'll just look for Ken Burns jazz documentary. And here you go. You can pick one of the, here's I think one in the series. And there it is. And you can watch that. So that's just an example of one of our film. We have a couple of those, a couple streaming film databases. We also have this really neat film scripts database. And I'm not going to go through the search, but here, for example, is the original script to The Wizard of Oz. So if you're doing any research on, you know, old films, or there's even some more current films in there, you can see what were the stage directions. What was in the original script? How close is the original script to what you've memorized? I think The Wizard of Oz, I've heard someone say it's the most quoted movie of all time. So that's a fun database. Another one is we have some art databases where you can search specifically for images. Art Store is a big one. It has over 500,000 images you can search through. Maybe you saw Harriet and you want to find some images of Harriet Tubman. So you can come in here and see if we have any photographs, or so you can see here, here's an interesting print. And you can check out the licensing and how you need to go about using it if you wanted to use it for a paper or something. Here would be the link that you could get, and there's that site if you want to cite it. Just for, I wanted to show you, if you were physically in our library building, you would see this big painting, and I just thought I would bring up a painting just to give you a sense of, we have this galleria. You walk into the library and it's this big open space and there's glass ceiling, and hanging on the wall there is a big Albert Bierstadt painting. He was a German romantic painter who came and painted the Sierra Nevada a lot. And where is it? This painting, I just thought I'd show you. You can imagine you're in art. This is a huge painting up on the wall of the Galleria, so I thought I'd show it to you. So Art Store is another interesting tool you can use. And there's so many, and we could have so much fun doing this for forever, but I do want to quickly get back to citation advice. You know, I think citation is one of those things, students have all kinds of different backgrounds. Maybe some of you learned a lot of detailed citation information very early and you feel comfortable with it. Some students, maybe it's something new to you and you haven't really had a lot of experience doing citation. You just kind of put the link of where you got it at the end of your paper and that's all you do. But citation is really, it's a very important part of knowledge creation and communication. It tells us how we know what we know. And it's really going to be taken very seriously when you get to college. It's something you should be prepared to talk about. It's something that you shouldn't be afraid of. It's something that you should embrace. And so I just wanted to get you thinking about it. You know, why do we have to do this? I have to go through this, what feels like torture sometimes, of keeping track diligently of everything you access, okay? And there's just a couple points here. I think the one that's probably overused, that people often might say to you, you have to give credit where credit is due. Absolutely, that is true. You want to make sure that you don't come across as stealing someone else's idea. Yes. But that's not the only reason. There's lots of other really important, powerful reasons why we need to cite. And maybe one of the biggest of those is this idea of you making sure that you're a credible voice. You're communicating in a credible way. You're a credible author. If you're not showing anyone how you know what you know, they have no reason to believe you. Everyone is skeptical of everybody now. So if you don't give people a really good reason to believe what you're saying, they're not going to believe you. So the citations show which experts did you pick? What was the evidence? And you know, who are these people? Where do they work? What do they do? What have they written? So it really gives you credibility. Another really, really important purpose is someone else wants to go look it up for themselves. Maybe they think that you're interpreting a source wrong. Maybe you are using a particular article and they think that can't be right. They want to go look it up for themselves so they can replicate your research and go find it for themselves. That's also really important when you are communicating. Of course, you don't want to get into any kind of academic dishonesty category if you are paraphrasing something, if you're summarizing something, if you're quoting something. Those are all situations where you need to cite. And if not, that's when you get into the academic dishonesty category. So citation is just a part of normal ethical information behavior. And finally, it's really about, this whole thing is about, you've gone treasure hunting and you have found some treasures that you did the work, you figured out the search terms that worked. That's not easy. So you should feel, even if you just found one really fantastic source, there should be pride connected to that. There should be excitement, and your sources list should be almost like you're showing off, that it's this bucket of treasures that you uncovered, that you integrated into your own ideas, and you're sharing that with your audience. So those are just a couple reasons why I don't want you to feel annoyed, scared, intimidated, frustrated. Citation is a normal part of communication. It helps us know, how do we know what we know, and the library is here for you to answer any questions you have about it, as are your professors. But again, that you could just go to that Ask Us button. Just click on Ask Us and say, help, I'm trying to cite this. I don't know how to cite it, or do I have to cite this? Those are all questions you can ask librarians. Okay. And I showed you how those database tools can help. Some of those citations you'll find in the databases. If you come to a library workshop and we show you how to do this, we'll always tell you to remember that those are written by computers, they're algorithms, and so you always do want to check your citations yourself and not just copy and paste a citation from any kind of citation machine. Depending on which one you're using, I would argue they're about 60% accurate, maybe about 60% of the time. So you always want to get a sense of what citation style you're using, what it should look like, and feel like you own those and you're checking them yourselves. And if you're not sure, ask us. That's what we're here for. we can take questions. Is this a good time
Yeah,
for questions?
I've got a bunch, and actually you just answered one, but just to recap about the accuracy of the citation tools, either in the databases or some of the online, like maybe EasyBib or something like that. They have very fine print that says they're not 100% accurate. So I think you covered that, saying check with the librarians we have on those research guides. We'll have links to APA sources that are correct, or the citation sources you can check them against. I'll throw this one to you. What happens if students accidentally mess up citations? Because I think that's some of the fear, is kind of being blamed for something. Or
Yeah, I mean, you will all most likely take a writing course, either Writing 101 or Writing 102. And those are classes designed to help you get comfortable with citation. And the most important thing, you're going to have multiple drafts. I've actually taught Writing 102, and it's one of those classes where you're never just going to hand in a paper. You're going to start with a draft, and the professor is going to give you feedback. And if you cite incorrectly on the draft of your research paper, they're not going to come after you. They're there to help you. So it's all about the conversation. The most important thing, maybe it's a class where you don't get the drafts and you're just handing it in right away. Just leave plenty of time. I think that's the biggest mistake students make, is they think of citations as an afterthought. And I know it's easy to do that because they're not part of the actual writing and they're just sort of tacked on at the end. But if you think of them as being integrated into your work as you go, then you'll be ready to ask questions earlier. So you just email your professor and say, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. Am I doing this correctly? Your professor will love to answer that question for you. They would much rather have that conversation before the paper is due than after the paper is due. So if you have any questions, talk to your professors, talk to librarians. We are here to help you. No one is here to try to pin you down. It's sort of, if you make a mistake, you just be open about it, talk to your professors, and they will conference with you and talk to you and help you through it. So it's one of those things that depends on the situation. There is a lot of fear around it, and I understand that. And that's frustrating because it is very important, and a lot of faculty feel very, very strongly about it, and they'll give you their talk at the beginning of the semester, and it makes you afraid. But as long as you are communicating ahead of time and asking your questions, don't be afraid to ask your questions. That's the whole point of being here, is to ask your questions. So just never be afraid to ask any questions, because guess what? If you're confused about citation, everyone else in the class is confused about citation, and they will thank you for asking the question because they were too scared to ask.
So I've got a few all bundled together. So do librarians help you with your research? Yes, that's our bread and butter. We ask you to ask us questions. You can make appointments with us. So one of the questions is, are there strict hours? We will be on campus certain hours, but we can always make arrangements to meet you when it's appropriate, or when it's convenient. Especially in the current environment, we do Zoom meetings, so there's a lot of options. Again, those research guides will have a librarian's name on it. So if you're studying psychology, there'll be a psychology librarian. You can reach out to them and make an appointment. Someone had asked a little earlier about can librarians help you virtually? And that's another yes. We can do it through chat. We can do it through, there's an email reference account that we didn't show you, but you can email us questions that way. And again, we can set up a lot of these remote meetings with you as well. So there's a lot of different ways. Christine, what is your background image?
My background image?
Yes.
Oh, my background image. Yeah, it's virtual. I'm actually at home. But yeah, this is the quad area. So the building that's right behind is the Melville Library. If you walk in through the main doors there, you're going to enter into that galleria I was talking about with the glass ceiling, and then you can get into different reading rooms from there. And then on the other side of this grassy quad is the Stoller Classroom Building, which is where the music and the art departments are. And then the Stoller Center, you can see it sloping down the Stoller Center, which is where our big theater is, where in non-pandemic times, we have all kinds of concerts and shows and Met Live, movies, all kinds of stage productions, just amazing resource. That's at the very bottom of this slope here. So Chris, is there a name? Is it just, I always call it the quad, but it
The
must
quad,
have a,
all I know is that it initially was a concrete plaza, and they actually
yeah.
trucked in all that grass and dirt. So buried under that is the original plaza from 1975, I think. So there's a couple of questions physically. So is there a bookstore on campus? Yes, it's in the basement of the Melville Library. Will I be able to study with classmates in the library given social distancing regulations? So we're following the CDC guidelines and the health precautions. So you would have to maintain distance. And I think that you have to wear a mask on campus as well. So, and I think someone had also asked, we had to close down the study rooms. We had some smaller study rooms, but they were just too small to allow people to be in them at that close a distance. How am I? Okay, you can get on to the library campus. There are some, so when you get an ID card, which is used to open some doors or swipe access, the health science library, after certain hours, you can get in with the swipe card. I don't believe, they've installed a few new ones with the new situation, but I don't think during the day on campus you don't need your swipe card to get into the Melville Library. That door will be open to you. Physical equipment, yes. So this is a question about hygiene and sanitation under COVID. So they have increased the sanitation and cleaning throughout the library. If you're checking out books when they come back, we quarantine the books physically, I think for at least 4 days. I think we're ballparking, or that we're using 4 days as a guideline. So so the next person that gets it, we know that any potential virus will have dissipated by then.
And the stacks are currently closed.
Right, and that's why you can't go walking through the stacks. We can get the book for you once you tell us which one you need. Christine, I'll throw this to you. Unlike Googling something on the internet, we can assume that any article we find is a reliable source that we can use in our work, ?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, you're the one who has to decide that. And in general, when you search in the library databases, you can feel really good. It's high quality information that we pay for. It's lots of different types of information. You know, you have to know what you're looking for. When do you need a newspaper article, for example, right? And when do you need a peer-reviewed journal article? Those are two different information needs. So if you're looking, you know, like in January, February, if you were looking for what was going on with coronavirus in that moment, you weren't going to find any peer-reviewed journal articles. You would need newspaper articles. So if you want, you know, what is the public talking about right now, current events? How is the public talking about the time, whether it's 1920 or 2020? You know, newspaper articles have a specific purpose. Peer-reviewed journal articles have a specific purpose. Historic letters, historic diaries, poetry, novels, films. You have to know, you know, advertisements. When do you want to look at an SUV commercial? When are you going to cite an SUV commercial in your paper? Is it because you're analyzing the music, or you're analyzing, you know, the economics of it? There's all kinds of different information purposes. So the ultimate job is to match, you know, your information need to the information you're finding. So you're the one that has to do that work. And oftentimes you might find something really important on the open web. So it's not that the open web is not good. It's just that you can use our databases to help you target specific types of information. And it is, yes, it is all very high quality information you can feel good about.
So I got a few, I'm just jumping around, but in terms of our online workshops and events, if you go to library.stonybrook.edu, there's a calendar there. So the most recent ones will be there, but then it'll say view all events. So you can keep an eye on that. Then once you're at Stony Brook, there's a lot of email newsletters that will blast out information. There's an app for students. I think it's Engage, SBU Engage, which will give you a list of student-centered workshops and events. So there was a question about study rooms on campus. So again, we've had to close the smaller ones. How many libraries do we have? There are 10 in all, 10 locations. I think 8 of them are on the main campus, either in the Melville Library or in a surrounding building. Let's see. This is great. They keep coming in. In terms of equipment that we are lending, there is a great 3D printer lab. There's a space on campus called the iCreate Lab. It's not in the library, but it's run by our technology IT department, but they've done great things with 3D printers, sewing machines. They have a lot of things you can use. So we've got, I think we have HDMI cables, and we have a few things that physically that you can borrow. There is printing in the library, just as a side note. Do any events or meetings happen in the library on campus? Yes, and you know, with the caveat, in the old way and the new way, a lot of the fall is going to be online, just because things are still a little safer that way. So most of our events will be happening online, but as things loosen up and it can become safer, we do a lot of things. That main hallway outside our library, we call the Galleria. We do concerts there. We have therapy dogs there. So yes, we do a lot of physical things once we can all get back to that. Christine, I'll throw this to you. Do you have any tips for high school students to use our school library or public library to help with the college search?
Oh, to help with the college search. Well, I guess it will depend on your high school. If you have a, you know, the guidance counselor will hopefully help. But I think a public librarian or your school librarian should be able to point you to some good resources. Let's see, I haven't gotten there yet. I've got a sixth grader and a ninth grader. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, just like we're librarians, if you've got a high school librarian, hopefully, and they're just as eager to help you. So I would say if you take questions to them, they can, if they don't know it, they can guide you to a guidance counselor or other sources. We just have a question: is the library helpful for the students having their classes online? Can we order books through catalog and get them shipped? There is a provision for distance learners where they can ship things if you live outside of 50 miles from campus. Some of this will be clarified, so we'll have more information, but there is that that scenario where if you're living far away. We've been making an effort to get more ebooks and online material, so a lot of it should be available to you just through the databases and things like that.
And then there's Interlibrary Loan too.
Right, and actually that good. Thank you for that. There was a question earlier. So Interlibrary Loan, if it's something we don't have, sorry about that. We can get it for you through a system. Do you want to take this one, Christine? Explaining
Oh, sure.
IL?
Yes. So Interlibrary Loan is this wonderful, fantastic, fabulous invention where you can have access to resources that are basically anywhere in this network. So you find an article maybe that we don't have access to through our databases. You submit an ILL request. You just enter your login information and you start a basic application. You make the request, you enter the information for what you want, you submit it, and they will email you a PDF when they get it. Usually it's within 48 hours, assuming they can get it, which is typically the case. If it's a physical item like a book, with the pandemic, ILL hasn't been doing physical items, but typically you can get books. I've had books shipped to me from all over the country. I even had a book come internationally once, I think. That was an unusual situation, but you can get these books. Maybe they're out of print books. They're rare, they're a book you just can't get it at Stony Brook, and so they can ship that in. And once the pandemic settles down a little bit, they should be returning to the physical ILL as well. So it's a wonderful service.
Okay, a few others. Student workers in the library? Yes, we do have student workers. Some are on work, mostly on work study, but they work in the administrative offices. They work at the circulation desk. So there's a number of opportunities there. Again, with the pandemic, it's a little bit different, but there are job fairs on campus where you can meet with the different areas offering positions and get more information there. Alumni at the moment do not have access to the databases. That is something, if you ask the alumni office, I know at one point they had that available, but I think it's not something that they're currently offering. And the question about, does the library have textbooks for my courses? So again, as a general rule, we don't buy the textbooks for the courses. Sometimes we'll have an older edition. Sometimes, again, the professor can put them on reserve. Physically, we're not doing that in the fall, but we can do some scanning. So again, check with your professor. They might put chapters that you can read online, and so you'll be able to access that. through the web, through Blackboard, which is the online learning platform that Stony Brook uses. Just curious, how big are the librarians on campus? So I don't know if we can clarify that question. Do you mean in terms of prestige or but
What was it? How big
are the librarians on campus? So, I mean, we are faculty. We are involved with, a lot of different parts of the campus committees and planning and things like that. So we're definitely tapped into what your professors are doing. And again, as liaisons, we're working with different departments, and we're definitely involved with what's going on at that level. And
I got a question here. Can a high school student use the Ask a Librarian chat?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw that one. And when we're doing chat, because we both do chat too, we don't ask who are you. And like you saw the box, you can leave it anonymous. So the only thing that might come up is if we're going to send you a link to a database, we'll tell you need a Stony Brook ID to log into this. So, but if, I've had chats where I think it was someone from Italy asking about a journal. And, we're here, again, we're here to answer questions. We're also a public university. So we take the question, and it's just that at some point, it might be a resource that only a Stony Brook person can access online. How big? Okay, how big are the libraries on campus? So I don't know, Christine, if you want to try to quantify it, but so the Melville Library building, the whole building is not the library, but there's the central reading room is a big area for seating and computer work. The North Reading Room is a 2-story. If you see the spiral staircase, that's the main feature there. There's 2 levels, a lot of seating. The Music Library is down a hallway, which is a very quiet side library just dedicated to music. Oh, thank you. And the main stacks, which are not accessible, is like 5 floors of those 2 million books. So they're pretty big, but they're of all these different locations we have, they're all different sizes, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, there's also like a little tiny chemistry library, which is probably not open this particular semester. There's a math and physics library, which are also on the smaller side. So they vary in space and size.
And I think we're up to date. Wait, no, I just got a new one. Spoke too soon. This is great. How do you keep books in good condition? So, I mean, Stony Brook goes back to the late 1950s, and they collected a lot of books from then on. So, there's wear and tear, I guess, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of circulation. But, we rely on the students, I guess, to treat books with respect. That's one avenue. If you're talking about in the pandemic, again, we're quarantining the books as they come back. So we're making sure that they're in good shape and clean. And, if it gets too worn, there's a process called weeding. So if something is, gets water damage or something like that, we wouldn't make people read it if it's not in good condition, and then we would look to replace it as needed. Okay, I think we've reached the end. Christine, any final thoughts before we let these fine people go?
No, it was wonderful getting to hear all the questions and getting a chance to talk to you. So thank you for coming.
Yes, and again, if you are an incoming student, we'll have more orientations next week to follow up on anything that we might have missed here. And everyone else, good luck with the search, and all the best in your college career.
Okay.
Emilio, back to you.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email admissions@enroll@stonybrook.edu, or you can text us as well. And then if you have any questions for the library, I know they shared both of their contact information, and they would be happy to answer any of your questions at any time. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.